Greetings to the 2013 Teach for America Corps members. My name is Gary Rubinstein. This is not my usual way of communicating with the public. There's been a bunch of open letters to the 2013 Corps members, and rather than just write another one, I thought I'd make this video and see if it has any impact. 2013 Corps members, you have picked a very bad time to join Teach for America. It is, in my opinion, the worst time so far in the history of Teach for America to join this organization. It's the time where the flaws in the organization are sort of bubbling up so much, and there's so much awareness of the issues. I also think that with your help, next year and the years after will be better years to join Teach for America, because I hope you'll be more vocal as you kind of point out how the critics of Teach for America are maybe correct about various things. So 2013, I believe, will go down in history as the very worst time to ever join Teach for America. Now, you had no choice, really, in what year you're going to join Teach for America. You were born in 1991, most likely. 1991, coincidentally, is the year that I joined Teach for America. So in that way, we share this special bond, and because of that, I expect you'll probably listen to everything I have to say and do everything I have to say without questioning anything at all. The biggest problem with Teach for America is that they are liars. They lie about almost everything. So this is a problem. One of the biggest lies they have is that you, as new teachers, are going to be what they call transformational. And, you know, the average teacher in this country, they are correct when they say the average teacher in this country does not generally create this, what they call transformational change. Transformational change, for those of you who don't know, means that some fourth grader was not on a path to graduate college. And because of the actions of that fourth grade teacher, that fourth grader now is on a path to graduate college. And it's not a realistic idea of the kind of impact that teachers have, though teachers do have impact. So first-year teachers who are worse than the average teacher certainly are not going to have this. And you might say, well, that's okay. You know, I should certainly aim high. What's the harm in aiming high? And there is no harm in aiming high for you. But what will happen is that most of you will not do very well. And that's okay for Teach for America. They don't need you to do well. 15% of you will quit. But if a few of you, and the odds are, out of 6,000 people, a few of you will have some miraculous success stories. And if they get a few of you guys to do that, they now have the PR they need to go on and say, look, here's an example of a Teach for America teacher who's sort of performing miracles. And in that way, they get a lot of money, both taxpayer and private money, and they get to sort of continue to grow their organization. Let's see, I made some notes here, and they're not as neatly written as I hoped. Oh, so the problem with the myth that first-year Teach for America teachers can do this transformational change is that there are many politicians out there. And these politicians, and also certain Teach for America alums who are now in positions of power where they lead school systems or have their own sort of nonprofit organizations that are sort of lobbyists for education reform, or at least a certain type of education reform. And they go around saying, well, these new teachers are better than the old teachers, these new teachers are better than the old teachers, and what happens is that the politicians say, wow, we need new laws that make it easier for us to get rid of those older teachers who aren't doing such a good job, not performing the miracles that Teach for America has proved are so possible. And then in doing so, you have this sort of destructive type of school reform, education reform, that's based on the idea that there's a great many teachers who have been sort of flying under the radar, getting good principal evaluations over the years, but really not teaching. And it's just not true. So you've joined an organization that has promoted these ideas. It's their alumni who are the biggest champions of these concepts, and they're very destructive. So what can you do about it? Well, Katie Osgood says you should all quit. And I'm not going to go that far. I'm not saying that everybody should quit Teach for America. However, certain people should, if not quit, should at least demand a transfer out of whatever position they're going to be teaching. And I want to say who those people are. If you're being placed in special ed, you should quit. 5 weeks is just not enough time to learn how to teach special ed. And you may say, well, but there's shortages, I'm getting hired, so they must have some need. And that might be true. There might be a shortage of special ed teachers. But you don't want to give them this easy out where they're going to take someone who has no idea what they're doing. You want that not to be an option. You don't want to be the one who fills the void in this very ineffective and cheap way. So you don't want to be part of that. So special ed teachers, you should quit. Or request to not be placed in special ed. Those of you who are placed in a city that's having major issues right now with teacher layoffs and school closings, Philadelphia is sort of the biggest one, but Chicago is another. You should, if not quit, you should at least demand being placed elsewhere. These cities are closing schools. Politicians are closing down the schools and saying, well, you're not doing as well as these charter schools, many which are staffed by Teach for America teachers and many which are run by Teach for America teachers. And just like the Teach for America lie about how good the first-year teachers are doing, it's also a lie about how good the charters are doing. I've studied the charters, I've studied their attrition patterns, and the main difference between the high-performing charter and the failing school down the block is the students they have. And I've seen so many schools, and they claim they have 100% graduation rate or 100% this or that, but then when you examine their statistics, they kick out the students who aren't fitting into their way of doing things, and that's after they've filtered out kids who weren't allowed to even come to the school in the first place. So the sort of Teach for America lies have come back to really hurt the education system. And that's why I think Teach for America now is doing more harm than good. Not that there isn't some good happening, but the harm is outweighing that. Who else should quit or ask to be transferred? Well, if you're a charter school, I would say that you should request to transfer, because if you're in the charter school, you're just perpetuating this sort of myth. The charter school is going to lie about how well you did, or how your students are the same students at that other school, and they're going to get a lot of money. Other schools are going to get shut down, and you'll be a part of that. And I don't think you want to be a part of that. Not that those kids at the charter school aren't great kids and don't deserve teachers and things like that, but you're better off not. If you really want to be part of helping the system, you're better off not teaching in a charter school. Otherwise, I think that's the main thing I wanted to say. I have a blog. You can read it, and in the comments you can ask me questions or even disagree with me. My blog is one of the good places where there's a lot of discussion going on. Teach for America does not like to discuss their flaws. They have a big PR machine, and they deflect any criticism and say, oh, well, this person's wrong, or this person's feeling threatened by us, or whatever. But to not have honest discussion and debate means we can't really progress in a real scientific way. In science, you have a hypothesis, you test it, you're honest about the results of the test, and if the experiment fails, you try something different. Teach for America has been doing the same thing, and it's gained them a lot of money and a lot of power. It's gained a lot of their alumni a lot of money and power, but it hasn't really helped education in this country. I think Teach for America has made education worse, and I hope that you will be vocal about some of the problems. If you're getting trained to teach fourth grade, but you're going to teach middle school, that's a problem. You should say, I'm being trained to teach fourth grade. I'm going to then place me in a fourth grade classroom, because there is a big difference between teaching this grade level or that one. If you're supposed to teach science, but they're training you to teach math because that's all they have, you say, no, I want to teach math then because that's what I've been trained for. Different ways to be a little more vocal. Now, you are taking a risk if you speak up, because Teach for America is not very tolerant of dissent. They will tell you you need to be more flexible. But if enough people are vocal, I think Teach for America will get better. Now, not for this year. Teach for America is not going to get any better for you. You're pretty much you're getting what they are. But for the sake of the 2014 core members, and more importantly, the students that the 2014 core members will teach, I'm going to ask for you to be a little more vocal. Let us know what's going on. If you think something is not fair, they're doing something that's sort of underhanded, you need to call them out on it so they can improve. Well, that's what I have to say. I don't know if this video is any good. I hope it is. I tried to keep it at about 10 minutes. Well, thanks.